Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Muslim Farmville. Thanks for stopping by. Few days ago, I made some jam, blueberry jam, and I made a mess. So I was able to wash these towels. That's why they're all stained. Washed them and brought it outside to let it hang. So now I'm just gonna go ahead, since they are dry, and finish up my outside chores this morning. It's getting a bit warm and I have few things to do inside, and I want to take you with me. I need to go ahead and make some bread today. Also, I have some zucchini. I would like to make zucchini bread. This is all the bread that we have left for the family, and I want to get ahead of it. Also, the garden has been thriving. We have loads of zucchinis, as I loaded a video in the past and made bunch of zucchini breads and froze it. So let's go ahead and use that too. Today I'm just going to go ahead and make 2 loaves of yeast bread. Since I didn't feed my starter, I have some oil, duck eggs. We have a little bit of coconut oil as well. I want to use what I have and not rush it to the store. So let's pour. I'm using the bread machine. Some water, avocado oil, duck eggs, and let's get a little bit of maple syrup, some flour, regular flour, salt, couple of cups more of flour. I use organic all-purpose, and yeast. I'm just going to make dough. That's number 8 for my bread machine, and let the machine do the work for me since I have few things going on today. I want to bake few different things, so I will have the oven on 350. We have maple syrup, duck eggs, some cinnamon, vanilla. I'm melting my coconut oil. We don't use microwave here at the farm. When I'm baking something, I love to use the duck eggs. And here's the melted coconut oil, maple syrup. We tap our trees for maple syrup, vanilla, loads of cinnamon and salt. Mix all that together for the zucchini bread. A little bit of baking soda, baking powder, mix it all together, and we have the zucchini shredded or grated, however you want to call it. Mix all that together. I will go ahead also and add it with walnuts. If your family does not use any nuts, you don't have to add it. If you want to add seeds, you can, whatever, but I have walnuts and that's what I used. So I became few trays into the oven. My husband is making some lavender homemade ice cream. So it basically from coconut milk, a little bit of maple syrup, and some lavender, and the color came from blackberries. He blended coconut milk with blackberries into this machine. The inside part, we had to freeze it for overnight, and it does the job. Somebody actually donated this machine to the mosque, and we borrowed it from the masjid. So let's go ahead and check. I need to give it a little more time to rise because I want that dough to develop. So I'm just going to turn the lights off now while the dough rises and the ice cream machine is finally done. I will show you how it turned out. Nice and almost the frozen ice cream. It smells so good, you guys. I had some of it. It's not low carb because of the maple syrup, but I did had some, enjoyed it with my family. That's what it looks like. We're just gonna go ahead and put it into a glass jar and freeze it. So whenever we need ice cream, we don't have to buy it from the store. This one is more delicious and simple and healthier. One of our children cannot do dairy yet, so that's why my husband used the coconut milk into the freezer. And then I will just also have been noticing the ice cream is purple, the sauerkraut is purple. Something about purple lately in our house. So this is the machine, ice cream machine that goes the inside. I cleaned it and I go ahead and put it into the freezer for next use. The dough doubled up. I wanted to make 2 loaf bread, yeast bread. So we will go ahead and shape them. And my baking dishes are ready. I oiled it already and they are ready. So what I will do is put them into the baking pans and cover it with a wet towel and let it sit on top of the oven since it's warm. Somebody's saying something smells pretty good around here. Yes, Anwar, Mama is baking. So the bread doubled up, and anytime we have eggs that are broken, I make sure I put it into a glass jar, save it in the fridge. I usually have it this little dish. We don't throw our broken eggs. Zucchini bread is all done. Get it out. Regular bread goes in there. Let these zucchini breads completely cool down. It's almost time for us to pray. We, as Muslims, we stop whatever we are doing when it's a prayer time while the bread cools down. We are praying right now. My husband and my son. After prayer is done, we go ahead and back to working, cooking. Since my breads are done, I would like to go ahead and wash my dishes right away. And since the oven is on, I like to also go ahead and roast some beets. That's why I made the yeast bread today, because of I have a little project is like this. So let's rinse this dish, dry it, and use it for something else later. My little one, she used to love to eat roasted veggies like carrots, beets, but the last couple of years she's really liking the fermented beets. She used to tell me, I don't like these fermented beets. I think it was because of the vinegar, right? But now the last couple of years she's growing and she's like, I like this, Mom. So now we have some beets and she said, Mama, let's roast these and make them into fermented. So since the oven is available now from the breads are done, I will go ahead and put that into the oven. I like to tighten my house whenever I'm cooking and baking things. So now I dry all the dishes, and the dish, the ceramic bowl that I used for from the beets, I will go ahead and put some onions in there and keep it there because we have some onions from the farm. This way it saves me time, and instead of having all those baking dishes sitting around soaking in the sink and then I'm cooking, baking, it just gets overwhelming for me. This is what works. So let's put all the onions and take it into its own place. Now I would like to go ahead and put together a meal. And we have leg of lamb from the lambs that were from our farm. We like to raise our own lambs, our own chickens, and then we know what we are eating. I have some homemade vinegar, some dry mint from our farm. I'm just gonna go ahead and slice some tomatoes. And I have some spaghetti sauce in this jar, mason jar. That was when we canned the tomatoes, and I had a leftover of some from tomatoes with the basil. This is homemade vinegar, pour it on top. So this is a mixture of basil and cilantro tomato sauce, some garlic pepper. Let's pour the tomato sauce that's full of goodness, basil, cilantro, garlic. It smells really good. Lots of onions, and I have some chicken fat. Some of our chickens that you guys seen that we butchered the one time. When we cooked, I saved this beautiful health good fat. These are our free range chickens that we have been eating. More mint, and honestly, I feel like when we baked with this mint, it ended up tasting so good. And my husband reminded me, can we please put some carrots with that? So I don't peel my carrots most of the time. I just cut the top and the bottom and save it for the animals. So the lamb went into the oven for a few hours. Let's also clean this area. I'll just go ahead and rinse that washcloth and get some soap. Wash the counter. My counters are getting better, you guys. I rinsed it again with water. Last time when I was canning the blueberries, I ruined my counters, but now the more I wash it, they are getting a lot better. So this is dry mint that we have been collecting, and my husband is just going to go ahead and cut them all to pieces and put it into the mason jar. Nothing goes to waste here. Alhamdulillah. The more we collect, the more we will have lots of mint and lots of veggies and fruits and use it for the winter season. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So we homeschool our children. We always homeschool the older ones, the younger ones. Some of you have been asking me, what do you do? Your children are home with you all day. Yes, we do, and keep them busy, hands on. And hands on, I mean everything: gardening, farming, hiking, walking. We go to the libraries in Wisconsin. We travel. Literally, we would cook food and take our children to the libraries and sit outside and eat and borrow books and visit all kind of different styles of libraries. Sam, as you guys seen many of my videos, he is hands-on. One of our neighbors works in a greenery, and she brought this box for us. It's like a little decoration for the farm, the garden area. So this is now we are taking a break while the lamb is cooking, and my husband and Sam are putting this together. And so that's one of the ways we really like the children to do homeschooling. Allah has blessed us 7 babies. We lost one. We have 6 of them, and we always homeschool them. And a lot of you have been asking, what do you do about smartphones? We don't give our children smartphones. We don't have games. Alhamdulillah. That was all that really goes to my husband. When they were young, I used to say, I want to get Game Boys and this for them. And he said they can be outside and play. So we don't have games. And for cell phones, they all have cell phones, but they have flip phones, which when we call them, they can answer when they can call us. If they are at karate, if they are at the library, it's a way that we can communicate with them. So their phones text, receive call, and they can call. So that's how we do it. And if they have a project, they can use my husband or my laptop. Alhamdulillah. So now I have vinegar and water mixed, some salt and pepper, a little bit of honey that someone was using left it in a cup, so I'm mixing it with that and some peppercorns. This mixture, that's what I'm gonna pour on top of the beets. This is dill. We have lots of dill, and as you can see, our son and my husband chopped all the dill. Those will go to the animals, and the rest of them will go into the dehydrator and dehydrate it. So the beets, we peeled it, cut it from the top and bottom. We add in onions, garlic, and some dill into a glass mason jar. If you don't want it to cut it into smaller pieces, you can just throw it even into as a whole. So now I will go ahead and put some of the vinegar mixture. It's all warmed up, and all the goodness of the beets and the dill and the onions and the garlic is there. Pour it on top, and I will just go ahead and get this amazing goodness. Let it ferment for a few days. Sometimes I even let it sit about a week. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and get the bubbles out. This turns out so good. We always make every year this beautiful fermented beets. You can introduce your children little by little. That's what I did with my babies. As you can see, the onions, the garlic, the dill, such a delicious, good for the gut, and full of iron as well. The beets are full of iron, good for us, especially as women. We get our cycles. We need to nourish our bodies, our minds, our soul. So I'm just gonna let that sit there. Lately, everything I feel like it's been purple in our house, mashallah, tabarakallah. So the lamb came out, and you all add, if you are making lamb, with some mint. It was delicious. We're serving it with tomatoes. Since we have tomatoes and cucumbers, the breads are cooling down, full of carrots and some beets. That's what we are going to enjoy. And now the dill is all dry. Alhamdulillah. We will pour it into a glass jar. It smells so good. So good. And now I have been collecting my edible flowers. Anytime I see a couple of pieces come, I'm like, okay, put it into the dehydrator. This is what we collected I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago of the dill, and now it thrived, so we have more dill. We will pour it into a glass jar. We have a scissors, so we'll just go ahead and chop it into small pieces. And more of the edible flowers. I'm just gonna go ahead and dry those. I have been drying them for a couple of months, and I have a small jar, but I will continue collecting them because I like to use it decorating when I bake cookies with it or take a bath with it. So all the dill is here, nice size now. We will be using them in the winter, inshallah, the will of God. Looks beautiful. Let that sit next to it later. I probably will put it into the pantry. My little edible flowers are all dry, and this is the jar I have been collecting them, and that's what I have. One day at a time, they say, one day at a time. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Give the videos thumbs up. We appreciate you. Comment down what was your favorite and what have you been making for your family. Are you canning? Are you drying? Let me know. Know that I'm sending you my love and my du'as, prayers, everything khair for you and your families, inshallah. Amin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.